By the way, very few shows are willing to talk about this topic the way we are. They're talking about just what's in the documents, they move on. Documents, move on. Now, there's a level deeper here. In fact, it begs the question, who's Jeffrey Epstein now? You think they're not going to do this anymore? No, obviously they were getting value for doing this. By investing in Epstein, giving him money, giving him the opulent lifestyle, setting up a blackmail operation, cameras everywhere. And so the FBI allegedly goes into Epstein's properties, and there was all this stuff in his safes, and they just disappear. Where did all those videos and documents go? No, one intel arm covers for the other. So the weekend before all these documents were made public, back in 2018-19, the SDNY arrested Epstein quietly when he landed his private jet on an airport trip he took from France. No perps walk for Epstein. Michael Cernovich wrote, quote, back in 2019, why didn't the SDNY charge Epstein under the Mann Act? Under the Mann Act, it's unlawful to transport an underage girl through interstate travel, including on an airplane. In a widely publicized press conference, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York announced sex trafficking charges against Epstein. Epstein was charged for paying minors for massages from 2002 to 2005. Yet what was more newsworthy was what the indictment left out. The indictment against Epstein does not charge anyone except Epstein, and there's nothing to indicate that anyone who flew to Epstein's private island has faced scrutiny. The SDNY's actions have all of the telltale signs of containment. Why didn't they charge him with the Mann Act? Well, because the SDNY charged the lowest level offenses possible, and they, quote, lacked jurisdiction to raid his island in Little St. James, as well as New Mexico and the Paris properties. Those houses were left unattended for a couple weeks. During that time, a safe went missing. One of his safes went missing. Had a lot of information on that safe. I'm sure a lot of blackmail. Those are billions of dollars of investments through the years that was in that safe. What was in there, we'll never know. We can speculate what's in there. We do know that our own FBI now has the Jeffrey Epstein blackmail files. The real Jeffrey Epstein files are the blackmail material. Very powerful forces have made sure we'll never see it. According to the Daily Mail, quote, Jeffrey Epstein kept a trove of CDs and nude photos of women and girls stuffed into the closets of his $77 million New York City townhouse, pause, that he received for $0 from Les Wexner under very strange circumstances. So, hey, here's a $77 million home. FBI agents used a saw to open the safe that held hard drives and diamonds. Quote, authorities found some photos stashed inside, along with compact discs with handwritten labels, including the following: young name plus name, miscellaneous nudes 1, and girl pics nude, court papers said. And remember, the person who gave Jeffrey Epstein the 40-room home in New York was very, very close to George W. Bush, Les Wexner. Maybe that is part of the Mossad connection. We don't know. But if you were evil, running an intel operation of the CIA, or even if you were an evil and you thought that you were doing good, and that's what's important, intention don't matter, and you want to try to get people in compromising situations, you would use somebody like Epstein. Somebody who is smooth, somebody who has no moral guardrails whatsoever, somebody who is willing to do this type of sick, disgusting, demonic, satanic behavior. And let's just tell it like it is, everybody, because that's what we're doing today. What we are saying today on the program is that the American government or the Israeli government or the British government or whatever, whichever one, Phil, we don't know which, we can guess, was willing to have pedophilia take place so that they could get blackmail on powerful people. You want to go a step further? Remember when the media got really angry when some people on the right would say there's an international pedophile ring running the world? They say, you're a conspiracy theorist. Now, some of the facts might have been sloppy here or there, but the main narrative is pretty hard to disagree with. One of James O'Keefe's greatest wins was when he put this video forward. Play cut 43, please.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago.
And they killed the story. That's Amy Robach at ABC News. That was Project Veritas. That was an off-the-cuff remark, by the way. That was not live on air. That was her just venting to her production team, saying that the whole story was killed. Why was the story killed? What's with the media's systemic lack of interest in elite sex crimes? Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein. Supposedly the press loves stories. They love to find scoops, right? But then with these incredibly salacious allegations, we apparently have a massive conspiracy of silence. And nobody wanted to write about Epstein. Nobody wanted to write up against Weinstein. Remember Corey Feldman, star of The Goonies, claims he was groomed and the victim of sexual predators when he was an underage actor in Hollywood, and they've blacklisted him for it. There's things that Mel Gibson has said about what Hollywood really stands for. Now, we could go at length about the degeneracy of Hollywood and all that stuff, but I want to emphasize the intel agency part of this. And we're just supposed to believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Oh, yeah, so Jeffrey Epstein was this Rain Man type character at the Dalton School, and some whiz kid of mathematics leaves the Dalton School, goes to Bear Stearns. We have no idea how he made his money, but then Les Wexner, the Victoria's Secret person, hands him a $77 million townhouse. The biggest picture here, and I want to make sure we land the plane here because there's so much more that I want to get to here, is this is what intel agencies get up to when we give them secrecy. We need to disempower these intel apparatus. Section 702, all this. They claim to protect us, and meanwhile, your taxpayer dollars are going to subsidize pedophile rings. Prove me wrong. How is that not what's happening here? Epstein is obviously a creation. Somebody around a table created him. He's a simulation. He's a live action role player playing a role. And young girls were trafficked on Lolita Express down to Caribbean islands so that your intel agencies could get powerful people in compromising situations. This is what the administrative state has become. And maybe that's why the media is horrified to touch this story. They're terrified. They don't want to go to that next level. And that's why they keep on saying, oh, financier, stop falling for that crap. He's not a financier. He's not a financier any more than Peter Strzok is a financier or Lisa Page is a financier. They're intel operatives. And everybody knew what was going on. And I'll tell you the story that I heard back in 13 or 14 when I was in Palm Beach. And people were like, oh yeah, Epstein he has young girls at his home and no one really does anything. And what did Alexander Acosta say at the time? Well, first, Cindy McCain. Cindy McCain, do you see a pattern here? Bush, Romney, McCain. She kind of says, yeah, we all kind of knew what Epstein was up to. You did? Really? Your passed away husband was one of the most powerful people on the planet, a senator who literally could determine the future of the legislature at times. He ran for president, and you were just kind of cool with the fact that Epstein was trafficking young girls? Play cut 42.
Hides in plain sight. Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing. But we had no one that was, legal aspect that would go after him. They were afraid of him. For whatever reason, they were afraid of him. All of a sudden, someone said, BS, we're not afraid of you anymore, and what you're doing is not only wrong, it's illegal, it's, all those things. It's like a house of cards now. It's going to start tumbling, believe me. And these guys, if they don't leave the country, number one, they're going to get caught, and they're going and they, not only will they get caught, but they're going to be made examples of, and that's exactly what we should be doing with these guys, especially. In my opinion, if I know there's.
I would like to hear the rest of the clip. You could tell at the end, by the way, she realized that she said something she shouldn't have said. She all of a sudden changed topics about holding people accountable. Oh, we all knew about him, but we were afraid. Who are you afraid of? Oh, we know. The people who actually run the country. Congress doesn't run the country. The Senate doesn't run the country. The president doesn't run the country. No. Langley, Virginia runs the country. The fourth branch of government runs the country. And even the McCain